Welcome to Invest. We'll talk about investing, finance, and professional development. Well, apologies firstly for the rain that's in the background. It's like pouring like crazy in New York for no reason right now. It's I was planning on actually going out for dinner, but now the plan is kind of washed. If you catch my drift, if you may. So I was just like looking at a trade report that came out that my friend from BlackRock and also ARK Invest has sent me. So just take a look at the trades as of yesterday. And again, right, the reports that I get is basically 1 day behind. But in terms of the volume and the amount that's being bought and sold on the equity side, obviously, it's quite interesting and quite sizable as well. So I just want to take a look at it together. Seems like on BlackRock yesterday there was a great buying day actually, and if you look at it, some of the I mean in comparisons, right? BlackRock is managing billions of dollars, but in terms of a large liquidation that happened yesterday, it has to do with CDK Global, which they basically sold close to $1 billion, 815 million, right? If I'm looking into digits, that's a lot of money. So they sold a huge amount of CDK Global yesterday. So not sure what's happening, but in terms of like the allocation, you could see that they completely liquidated. So now it's completely dead, 0%. And relatively speaking, looking at the other side of the spectrum, you could see that there were a lot of, you know, large buying activities happened yesterday for BlackRock as well, across a lot of environmental companies and some selective chip companies as well. And you could see like Qualcomm, Intuit, Adobe, Texas Instrument, obviously, Nvidia. These are billions of dollars of purchases that happened and occurred yesterday. So definitely big swing. You could see that with respect to Broadcom, they account for 3.04% of basically like $1 trillion portfolio. They bought about $3.7 billion of stocks yesterday, and you feel free to refer to these one. Like feel free to stop it and see, like stop the video to like refer to what I'm talking about. But these are quite sizable. At the same time, the amount of shares that they bought is quite eye opening at the same time. So this is what BlackRock is doing, and obviously I post this on my Patreon, so feel free to refer to it. By reading into it, it definitely give you a understanding onto like fundamentally what are some of the stocks that BlackRock has the lowest conviction in, which in this case CDK seems like to be one that they basically sold everything close to $1 billion worth of stocks as of July 7th. So looking into the other side of the spectrum, which is ARK Invest, which I also cover, it seems like yesterday, again, right, as of market close on July 7th yesterday, a huge liquidation event that happened. They sold basically a lot of stocks yesterday if you look into it, and some of the stocks that they sold are stocks like Robinhood, CRISPR, like Zoom, Shopify, Coinbase. They also liquidated some as well at about $2 million. But looking at like what's the biggest needle driver, it seems like Tesla they also sold some. At the same time, yeah. So across the board, a lot of trimming, right? I would say like in terms of like the amount that they sold, based on the percentage that that has shifted on the right side of the spectrum, you could see that it's mostly just like treasuring water, managing to not go above a threshold or below a threshold. But it's definitely interesting to see that yesterday they have sold collectively quite a lot of stocks, right? I would quite discount all of the ones that are in the five digits, but I would look definitely into the stocks like, for example, that are on a high level of digits. Like Tesla, they sold $5 million yesterday. Looking at Twilio, they sold $2.2 million yesterday. This is definitely a big driver. Zoom conference, which is the Zoom video communication company, is they sold $6 million shares of that. Also, CRISPR 5.6 million. So that definitely gives you a flavor of what they're thinking in the short term perspective. Looking on the long term perspective as well, on in terms of the amount that they bought, like what are the biggest purchases that they've done yesterday? It seems like they have bought quite a lot of Ionis, pharmaceutical. They bought quite a lot of healthcare companies for some reason. I think they're probably hedging for the monkeypox and the obviously the COVID spike that's happening domestically and also globally in China as well. It seems like the cases are spiking again. Um, so yeah, like by reading into this, like on the chart, right, that we get on a day to day basis. Obviously, I'm giving this to you guys for free now, so feel free to like take a snapshot or pause the video to refer to this. But like I update this every single day, after market close. When it release, obviously, because they take some time for them to accumulate the whole list, and then for me to disseminate this in this format for us to digest it. It's definitely interesting. It gives us a good guidance onto like what are the ones that we should like start thinking about buying in as they're actively buying more and more on a day-to-day basis, like, and you could obviously keep track on this list, and also like the amount that they sold, right, which is quite interesting. So it seems like there are a lot of activity going on with the biotech sector, which makes a lot of sense, right, for with the cases that's happening in the country domestically, obviously. So yeah, appreciate you. I was just like looking into it. This was not meant to be structural, but just what FYI kind of. So feel free to refer to this list. And if you're interested, like subscribe to our Patreon. It's like for you to get this list on a day to day basis, cost you like $20 a month. So that's like what 50 cents per day. That's like less than buying. I don't even know what you can buy with 50 cents. Nothing really, especially in New York City. But appreciate you. Have a good rest of the Friday. This is more of a trivial one. But thank you for joining me anyways. Thank you. Bye.